All right, let's rank the albums from the legendary band In Flames.
I cannot wait. I fucking love In Flames, best metal band.
Yeah, this band fucks harder than I do when I see a mile.
Jesus fucking Christ, Creepy Joe. We aren't even 5 seconds in and you're already being sus as fuck.
Yeah, Joe, what the fuck? Anyways, let's start with 1994's Lunar Strain.
Honestly, nothing too much to say about this. A weak tone added by decent production, but a lineup that would change a ton and not last. Anders isn't even on this album, and it shows. It honestly doesn't even truly feel like an In Flames album, although it has some cool moments on here. Behind Spaces, a banger goes harder than I do with Melania.
I agree with Donald here. In Flames would greatly improve after this release, but it is the first, so it gets partially a pass. Although Everlost Part 2 is an absolute dumpster fire. If you want an angelic voice, try having, instead of a grown-ass weird woman, sing it. How about a child?
Joe, can you shut the fuck up about children for once?
I can't believe I picked this guy as my VP. All that said, I agree that it is a weaker album in theirs, especially during this era of the band. It has its moments, but fails to have too much of a standout beyond Behind Space and Clad in Shadows, which makes sense why they re-recorded those two on Colony and Warkle. I'm going to put this at C tier. Any objections?
C tier works.
Yeah, I'm cool with C tier.
Up next is Subterranean.
Nothing too much to add, to be honest. It improved what could have been improved about Lunar Strain while cutting things that didn't work as well while retaining the same style. No matter what you think, you can't deny, Stand Ablaze is an absolute fucking banger of a track. I love it so much I fucked Melania to it, and she moaned so loud I almost fell asleep.
You keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. You sleepy, demented, senile cunt.
Guys, keep it civil. I have to disagree with Joe in that Subterranean doesn't feel like an improvement over Lunar Strain, just an addition to it. I also feel that its shorter length hurts what could have been something truly good to a more me experience. The covers aren't anything to stand out about as well, even if Stand Ablaze slaps.
Yeah, I have to agree. Lack of Anders on vocals makes this feel more like Dark Tranquility, to be honest. This would have fit nicely on the gallery as a B-side instead of the shitty B-side that legendary album brought. I'm thinking C tier here.
C tier it is. Up next, the Jester Race.
S tier, no fucking less.
Yeah, gotta go easy S tier as well.
Now hold on.
Joe, go back to fucking sleep. The adults are talking.
The Jester Race is a very good album, however, there are some flaws that keep me from putting this in S. For instance, there is very few knock your socks off moments that the first half on In Flames was well known for. The vocal mix at times is just blatantly dog shit, like on Moonshield, Artifacts of the Black Rain, and Dead God in Me is a pretty weak closer. The Black Ash Inheritance Edition does give a few bonus points to it, so I have to leave this at a high A.
The mixing isn't dog shit, just your fossilized eardrums can't discern what's good or not. You can hear the vocals just fine throughout the album. Anders sounds like a fucking demon ready to sacrifice you and spill out your guts. Lord Hypnos and December Flower are pure fucking power and punch to you that your fragile body would turn to dust faster than your dick does when you take Viagra. Dead God in Me is one of their most underrated tracks, and that's a fact. Go take your pills, Sleepy Joe.
I have to side with Donnie here. The Jester Race is just that good. It's a fully, carefully created piece of art that gives the atmosphere of walking through a desolate graveland within the Jester's land in the building of the cover, making your way around to survive in a world where you aren't disallowed nor welcome and have to be kept on your toes, all while giving amazing riffs and melodies that make your ears melt with how powerful they are. Easy ass, and that's that.
Fine, I'll allow S, not a big deal.
Up next, Warkle.
Def a step up. Cleaned up the crunchy production for a clean, powerful tone that is super heavy and delivers, all while creating the perfect room for the soaring melodies. Jotun is probably the best opener in their whole discography, and the rest of the album just keeps getting better with the Hive and Jester script transfigured. The Depeche Mode cover is also a nice touch.
Another S tier, In Flames mastered the art of creating melodic death metal. The atmosphere on this is incredible. It has perfect flow, tension, and release, all while feeling like you are walking through a deep forest in a green environment.
Oh, so now you care about the environment?
Barack, shut the fuck up. Your carbon footprint is super high from all the Yemen civilians you bombed.
Fuck off.
All right, so are we giving this one S tier?
Yeah, S tier it is. Up next, Colony.
The absolute GOAT when it comes to In Flames albums. The most perfect balance between heavy and melodic. From the moment this album opens with Embody the Invisible with a punch to the face going full 10 without slowing down outside the few moment when needed that let the high moments already shine higher. The mix creates a super powerful mix. The melodies in Scorn embody the invisible ordinary story, Resin, cohesive coexistence, and especially Zombie Inc. are mind-boggling incredible. The solo of Zombie Inc. feels better than being in bed with Trump's mom and Melania at the same time. It would be an atrocity to put this any lower than S.
Damn it, Sleepy Joe. Of course you picked Colony and S. While the Jester Race and Waracle were basically impossible to one-up against, Colony was a bigger step down than what they were able to do. The New World is dog shit. Man-Made God is so fucking repetitive, I get bored 45 seconds into the song. Palars Anders Visa is a pointless interlude, and Anders cleans on ordinary story sound like he's not even trying half the time. And when he tries in cohesive coexistence, he sounds like ass. B-tier album.
I agree this album has some flaws, but B tier is a bit harsh, Donnie. Don't you think?
This album is overrated as fuck. Your Democrat asses just can't fully comprehend sound. I already explained what's wrong with this album, and I was going easy on it. It's not a bad listen, but also the cymbals are way too fucking loud on this. Gives me a headache. I have to put this on a speaker and put headphones on to block out those super high-pitched ringing ass noises. Put this shit at B tier.
Trump, I get you are a close-minded racist, but please give it S tier what it truly deserves.
Never. I never lose to your senile child sniffing ass. You rigged the 2020 election, and I will beat you in 2024, assuming you don't rig it. And I bet you rigged this tier list to make Colony go in S tier.
All right, you two, shut the fuck up. I don't agree with Joe, but also don't agree with Donnie. As a compromise, I'll put it in A tier.
Shit's fucking rigged.
Fucking bullshit.
Moving on. Up next, Clayman.
The absolute fucking GOAT. From the moment this album opens with Bullet Ride, to the absolute rager that is Pinball Map, to the title track Swim, Another Day in Quicksand, and everything in between, this album has zero flaws. The best tone of any album coupled with insane production that make the kick drums sound so thunderous and impactful, you can almost feel it. Anders sounds his best on here, and his cleanse were nailed down. 10 out of 10, a perfect metal album. I will incite an insurrection on both your asses if you don't put this album in S tier.
I personally prefer the Jester Race, but I can't deny Clayman is incredible. S tier indeed.
Yeah, S tier, no doubt.
Finally, a good take from Sleepy Joe.
Up next, Reroute to Remain.
What the fuck happened here? In Flames sold out and made a new metal album, and a dog shit one at that. It's a fucking atrocity more than Obama's war crimes in Yemen that this thing came out. The once melodious Titans now became a shell of their former selves with a super loud ass cymbal going off 24/7, but also getting rid of what made them legendary in their melodious era to begin with. All for dog shit. They changed their sound for the fucking worse, and I'm still mad about it, F tier.
Whoa, 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 man. Reroute to Remain really isn't that bad. It's got good songs like Trigger, System, and Minus on it. Good tone, and Anders sounds decent, and while I agree it is a step down from Clayman, it still holds strong, especially compared to some of the output later on. It aged pretty well.
You fucking Democrat ass. This album is dog shit. I could vomit up a tone better than this one, and nothing on it is memorable, apart from how bad it is. Obama put this shit in a tier.
Calm down, Donnie. I agree with Joe. This album is a bit of a step down. But how could you not? After an album as good as Clayman, I personally would put it as a high A tier, as it's a super overhated and looked over album. Sure, it's the start of their sound changing, but it's still great in the process.
The highest I'll let this piece of shit go is D tier, not any higher.
I'd put it at a very high and respectable B.
C tier it is then.
This list is fucking bullshit.
Up next, Soundtrack to Your Escape.
Not gonna lie, I forgot this album even existed.
Of course you forget Sleepy Joe. No reasonable person would forget the bangers of Free and The Quiet Place and My Sweet Shadow.
True, but In Search for I and Discover Me Like Emptiness are pretty bad tracks, with the latter half of this album not holding up too well. There doesn't seem too much that needs to be said, so I'm gonna put this in B tier.
Sure, I'll accept B tier, and Sleepy Joe doesn't even know what we are talking about.
I'm still here, you know.
Up next, come Clarity.
It's fine, to be honest, nothing crazy about it. Crawl Through Knives is good, and I can't lie. Take this Life Rivals Bullet Ride, but overall the album lacks standout moments and feels like a kind of generic alternative metal album with a tone with the overdrive turned to 11 to a bit of a deficit. Not a bad album, though.
I'm not going to lie, this album has grown on me a lot. I agree with Take This Life and Crawl Through Knives, but Dead Ends. Guest vocals really do add something. Scream gets me hard. It's that Good and Vacuum makes me go harder than anyone in the mosh pit. A Tear album.
What kind of mosh pit are you going hard in? Any kind of half-real mosh pit would shatter your fragile, fossilized ass?
I agree with Joe. I don't really have too much to add apart from I do think the power ballad title track is underrated and wish they would play it live more. Overall, A tier.
A tier is fine.
Up next, A Sense of Purpose.
Sad that this was the last album with Jesper Stromblad on guitar. His songwriting was part of what made this band special. Unfortunately, this album doesn't encapsulate that. The tone is watered down and some of the melodies feel even more so. But I can tell they tried to progress forward without losing their sound, but it didn't work out. C tier.
I appreciate the love for Jesper. However, I have to put this album at A tier. Anders really poured his heart out into the lyrics, and they are some of the most personally relatable ones, helping many fans even still to this day out of hard times. Sure, the tone is flat, but the melodies can be memorable, like in The Mirror's Truth and I Am the Highway. Sober and Irrelevant is just pure heavy songwriting wise and should be a live staple.
Yeah, I agree. Joe, where should we put this? Joe, fuck, he fell asleep. Joe!
Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, I'm awake. I forgot, what are we doing?
Ranking in Flames album, Sleepy Joe. Obama, put this one at B tier as a middle ground of our positions.
B tier it is. Up next, Sounds of a Playground Fading.
First album without Jesper, and it shows. The hooks and meat of this album is overcooked to hell without his input, and it almost hurts a bit to hear. The melodies are lacking, and the only songs worth a damn on here are Deliver Us and A New Dawn. D tier.
I gotta agree, Donnie. D tier it is.
But I like this album.
Nobody, not even Jill, gives a fuck, Sleepy Joe. We need to save time. This video is already too long. Put it in D tier, Barry.
Sure thing. Up next, Siren Charms.
This album is fucking dog shit. What on earth were they trying to accomplish making this piece of Obama's presidency into this album? Half the songs aren't even remotely metal and have zero substance worth giving a damn over. Most of the metal is mid as fuck anyways. Everything's Gone is the only saving grace on this album, keeping it from F tier.
I agree, Donnie. E tier it is.
Shut the fuck up. Let me talk before deciding.
What?
Everything's Gone and In Plain View are bangers of songs that are easily the best thing in the first three 2010s In Flames albums. When the World Explodes, despite lack of a hot female child, still is easily the best song on this album and slaps harder than My Dick does to a minor and...
Shut the fuck up, Sleepy Joe. I'll put it in D tier. Just promise to never say that Sue's ass shit again.
This man definitely did not get 81 million votes without cheating.
Moving on from whatever the fuck that was. Up next, Battles.
This album is somehow fucking worse. Basically, imagine Dragons as In Flames. It's spacey and way worse in every way from Siren Charms, and that album sucked ass. F tier.
Drained is a half-decent opener, but Through My Eyes is probably the worst In Flames song. But that one thing makes me put it in E tier instead.
I like Drained, The End, and Wallflower, The Truth Isn't Horrible, and Save Me has a catchy chorus. But overall, this album is pretty bad. I say low D tier.
E tier it is then. Up next, The Mask.
A huge improvement from the last three albums. In Flames found a way to make the style of music they had been trying to do for over a decade and failed since Jesper left pretty listenable. It has some bangers, but the album sucks ass after This Is Our House. Except for Burn, that one is good, but overall a very mixed bag. C tier.
Not really too much to add from Donnie, although I do like Stay With Me. Follow Me is weak, though, but voices the title track, Call My Name, and especially I Am Above All go so fucking hard.
First time since Clayman in this video, we are all in agreement here. C tier it is. Up next, Clayman 2020.
F tier.
Up next, Foregone.
Holy shit, finally a good In Flames album. We needed this so badly. Chris Broderick is a fucking beast on the guitar, almost as much as I am with Melania. This album starts hard with State of Slow Decay and goes harder with Meet Your Maker and Foregone Part 1. Foregone Part 2 adds some great atmosphere while giving the most Gothenburg-style riff I've heard in a long time, with even the latter tracks, while more power ballad and rock anthem still being great. And the transmission is a bit weak, but apart from that amazing album, In Flames is fucking back, and they burned everything to a crisp in the best way, and I am all here for it, S tier.
Bro, what the fuck happened to your voice? Donnie sounded like you were about to suffocate. But anyway, I agree In Flames made a comeback with this album, but it's not as good as I had hoped. The singles were all that stood out, and while they released a ton, the only non-single I was a fan of was Bleeding Out. But the weaker songs on the album still hold up decently, so I will give this a solid B tier.
Yeah, election-denying, racist, pussy-grabbing ass voice anomaly aside, I agree with everything you say, Barack. I don't have too much to add, so I will also have to put this shit in B tier. Many steps in the right direction, and I hope to hear more of this, but improved in the future.
Fuck you, Sleepy Joe. Put this shit in S tier or else.
I can do this anymore. I'm just going to put this at A tier and call it a day.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. It's getting late. I'm going to have some chocolate chip ice cream and then take a nap before sniffing some children's hair.
That's the last of his bullshit I can fucking take.
Yeah, my wife Michelle also needs some help, so I'm going to head out too.
You mean your husband, Michael?
Fuck you.